final round of this year's Formula SimRacing World Championship takes place at the famous Interlagos circuit. With it being one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar, this circuit is a fan favourite, with famous corner sections such as the SNRS, Brasil del Lago and Junção. Alongside that flowing middle sector, the circuit has been host to many historic Formula 1 moments. Qualifying saw a surprise name on pole position, with Sander Callas taking pole for only the second time in his World Championship career, beating out Martin Gosby by over a tenth of a second. Jane Simoncic qualified in third ahead of Ricardo Costa in Oromir's last race for the time being. Janis Braksok qualified in fifth ahead of Petr Berlak and Wojciech Lukaszek. Kira Birukov qualified ahead of Robin Panzar in 8th, with Ivan Leonov racing as a reserve for Jean Alesi Esports rounding out the top 10. Pro champion Mark Hutchison races for Frammy and is the first driver with a free choice of tyre ahead of Mohamed Patel. Meanwhile, Luke Maguire and Cameron Roger race for flag to flag reserves, whilst Dylan Scrivens, Peter Schulze and Kostas Galanomatis are also debuting for absent drivers. They all start from the pits. This was a big opportunity for Sander Callas to recover a tricky season. But no, a technical fault on the formation lap cruelly struck the Estonian. Trying to fix the issue, he'd have to start from the pit lane at best. However, the problem turned out to be terminal, and all of his efforts in qualifying had come to nothing before the end of the formation lap. With Callas out, it was now Martin Gosby on pole ahead of Jane Simoncic and Ricardo Costa. Lights out, and Costa's launch was faultless, and he immediately took the lead from the two ACR cars. Gosby was forced to take a shallow line into Curva do Sol, allowing Simoncic through and Braksok to have a run. The Go Speed fighting his way around the outside and immediately set about catching Simoncic. Whilst there was drama in the midfield, Hutchinson hit the back of Leonov, putting both cars out of the race, with Patel having a lucky escape. Birukov has started well and was up to 5th, but under threat from Berlak. However, an attempted pass put him under threat from Lukaszek. End of lap 1 and Braksok was not beating around the bush, and he immediately found a way past Simoncic for second. Whilst behind, Lukaszek's 7th place was under threat from Panzar, who had passed him on the main straight. Whilst the top 10 stayed status quo in the early laps, Thomas Fock was on the move on the Super Softs. He made light work of Darren Rocek's ACR Blue, before breezing past Michi Hoy's ground effect for 9th. Lap 8 saw race leader Costa make his move, pitting for mediums but committing to a 3-stop. Braksok and Birukov stayed out an extra few laps, staying out long enough for a 2-stop strategy. The two ACRs stayed out until lap 14, and Simoncic almost managed to overcut Braksok, whilst Gosby was almost undercut by Birukov. Whilst in the midfield, Mohamed Patel and Luke Maguire came to blows, putting Patel out of the race and ending a miserable season for the 2017 champion. A similar thing almost happened between Hoyer and Rocek, but thankfully both were able to continue. There was a lot of battling as drivers who pitted were picking their way through cars on the alternate strategy. However, running 3 wide is a risky business, as Danny van der Neet found out the hard way as he attempted to do so with Schulze and Lukaszek, which would see the Netrex retire. Meanwhile, Janis Braksok had been chipping away at Costa's lead. He tried at turn 1, but the Oromir stood his ground, but then faltered. This meant he was defenceless as Braksok made the move down the Reta Aposta. Unsurprisingly, Costa pitted at the end of the next lap. Meanwhile, Galanomatis and Scrivens were in close combat. However, that was not how they intended to battle to end, putting Scrivens into the wall and into retirement. Meanwhile, Hoyer was making use of an alternate strategy and passed Lukaszek, but came to blows with Galanomatis as well, which hampered his progress. The resulting bottleneck allowed Rocek to draft past Lukaszek. Meanwhile, back at the front, and unsurprisingly the ACRs wasted no time in reducing Braxok's lead. Simoncic made his way past at the centre S, and then a mistake from Braxok allowed Gosby through as well. It would get worse for Braxok as being stuck behind Hoyer allowed Birukov to overcut the go speed. And to add insult to injury, Panzer got ahead as well. Back at the front, and the team's tactics were played as Simoncic allowed Gosby through to take the lead. The reason why became clear as whilst Gosby led, Simoncic found himself jumped by Birukov, Panzer and Braxok. Unsurprisingly, he wasted no time in passing Braxok. Gosby may have been leading, but second place Birukov was keeping him honest. Birukov's pace was solid. Could he challenge Gosby for the win and result in a fairy tale end to the season for Invictus? Whilst Braxok's pace was really starting to disappear, and he could do nothing to prevent Burlak breezing past him for 5th. It wasn't going as badly for Braxok as it was for his teammate Lukaszek, as his race ended when he put the power down too quickly out of Pinarino, ending a disappointing season for Lukaszek. Meanwhile, Ricardo Costa's strategy had not worked. His race then ended when a technical issue put him into the wall and into retirement. Meanwhile, back at the front, and Jene Simoncic was putting Robin Panzer's 3rd place under threat, eventually finding his way through. He was now putting 2nd place Birukov under pressure. However, contact was made, which sent Simoncic spinning and left Panzer with nowhere to go, and a trip to the pits, allowing Burlak through into 3rd. Kira Birukov was now under pressure from the edge driver, but was looking good for 2nd. But no, his engine had given up on him, bringing an incredible drive to an end just a couple of laps from the flag. Whilst it was all smiles for Martin Gosby as he crossed the line to take his 5th win of the season ahead of Petr Burlak and Jene Simoncic, thus securing 2nd in the drivers' standings. Janusz Braxok finished in 4th, finishing off an impressive rookie season for the Go Speed driver ahead of Daniel Kish, who drove a quiet but solid race on the alternate strategy. Despite Birukov's disappointment, Invictus still collected a crucial 8 points courtesy of Thomas Fox's 6th place, Darren Rotchek finishing in 7th ahead of Panzer, who finished in 8th ahead of Michi Hoyer in 9th, whilst Kostas Galamatis collects the final point of the season. Taking a look at the drivers' standings, and it was Jene Simoncic who was the class of the field, having swept the first 5 races, securing the championship as soon as Monza, and finishing on the podium in all but 1 race. He finished 84 points ahead of teammate Martin Gosby, who completed an ACR 1-2 by finishing 2nd. Petr Burlak was the only non-ACR driver to win a race this season, and he finished in a respectable 3rd ahead of Robin Panzer. And Jeffrey Fournier, reigning champion Michele D'Alessandro, had a difficult season, only finishing in 6th without a win, ahead of David Morcek and Janusz Braxok. Daniel Kish finished in 9th ahead of 2017 champion Mohamed Patel, who had a miserable season and finished a lowly 10th. A good result for Sander Kallis could have seen him move right up the order, but that opportunity was cruelly taken from him through the technical fault, whilst Wojciech Lukaszek rounds out the top 12. The constructors' standings saw ACR in absolute command, winning all but 1 race and beating out their sister team ACR Blue by 204 points. AG Sports were best of the rest, finishing in 3rd in their 2nd season, ahead of Jean Alesi Esports Academy, who struggled and could only finish in 4th with no wins. Go Speed saw a resurgence after a miserable 2018, passing Oromia for 5th in the standings at the final race. Netrex finishing in a lowly 7th, 41 points ahead of Ground Effect and Invictus, who both finished level on points. Both teams moved ahead of Flag to Flag, who enjoyed a miserable season and could only finish in 10th, whilst Fami Autosport struggled in their maiden World Championship season, finishing bottom of the table with just 5 points. And with that, the 2019 season has come to a close. Thank you so much for tuning in throughout the season, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel to see the off-season content such as the Winter Series, and be sure to check out the league forums and websites for news and information on the upcoming 2020 season. Well, the question is, will ACR maintain their dominance, or will someone else take the challenge? See you in 2020.